Thanks for that, Padraig. Firstly, I'd just like to reiterate the thanks for my sponsors, the Peter Daly Trust, in conjunction with LIC and Dairy Master. They were a great help and support to me on my journey and added to my report. My baby boy's name is Tig there, for those who are wondering. But, he's up in the room, probably crying. But anyway. So with the imminent expansion of our dairy industry, we're going to have an increased reliance on labour and also an increased reliance on improved farm management skills for the farmer themselves. For farmers that don't expand, in order to give themselves meet social, family and community commitments, it would also help them out on their day-to-day smooth running of their farming operation. So the objectives of my study are to enhance the development of those who work on dairy farms, to give people options for development, to make people aware of the successful outcomes of development. Well-developed people generally make better decisions, avoid mistakes, and generally take up leadership positions in our society. So my Nuffield experience, so I managed to get to 5 continents over the last 2 years on my journey. California, Canada, Brazil, Brussels, Israel, New Zealand and Ireland. While at the Contemporary Scholars Conference in Canada, I was successful in an interview and won a scholarship to the Global Dairy Farmers Congress in Israel. It was an interesting look into a heavily supported dairy country. So, just as Karen mentioned earlier, if you're to get on the board of Frontera, what skills do you need? You need leadership skills, you need communication skills, you need business acumen and finance skills. So these are a range of skills that are required. So on farm, what skills does the farmer need, or people working on the farm? Well, they need to know the hard sciences. The hard sciences on farm is grass and cow management. The soft sciences on a farm would be dealing with people, communicating with suppliers, communicating with contractors, communicating with people working on the farm. This understanding psychology is another very important factor when dealing with different people and new people that you meet on a day-to-day basis. This range of skills brought together leads to a multidisciplinary approach which can help people be successful on farm and off farm. Other factors that are very important are diligence and focus and clarity. While I was in Brazil, we stayed on a New Zealand dairy farming operation called Letissimo. The founders back in 2002 and 2003 slept in tents 50 kilometres in the Brazilian outback to get the operation off the ground. It was a great example of their diligence and a testament to what they achieved nowadays, milking over 4,000 cows and constantly growing. My best example of clarity from my travels was New Zealand dairy farmer Colin Armour. He was totally clear on what his business was about. His farm system was set up to eat as much pasture per hectare, and he maximised every hectare he had in this regard. In my report, I have a 14-point roadmap for development plan. These are just 7 of the points. I don't have time to go into them all. Hopefully you'll all know them next year after you read the report. But the first point I'll go into is discussion groups. Also open forum. I have included that in open forum learning like this conference today. Discussion groups are a brilliant way to transfer knowledge. You can look at your peers, you can see what they're doing. It's a safe environment. You can ask questions and you can get support. Farmers in discussion groups in Ireland have a 2 cent per litre margin over people not in discussion groups. It creates a positive peer pressure amongst farmers where the better farmers in the group pull up the lower performers. Dairy Holdings Company in New Zealand has 55 farms. They tabulate the performance of their managers and share milkers on a single table, so it creates a positive competition among people working, where the lower performers on profitability in the group will then actually march up the ranks. And it's brilliant for their business and brilliant for development of the people involved. Mentoring has been touched on a good few times this morning. It's very important to seek the advice of people who have done it and people successful. Enda Haw in New Zealand, he was in my class. He was Share Milker of the Year in 2012. His original owner that he worked for, Ray Seebeck, in 2004 on Sandal, Enda said he was open and honest with his information, sharing his financial information and his advice. He actually guaranteed a loan for Enda when Enda left, struck out on his own to buy cows. So it's an excellent example of how someone in a mentor role can help a young person. So another thing I looked at on my study was how corporations develop people. Corporations generally have a formal framework for development. They have a mission statement outlining the ethos of the company, and under that they have company values, giving people working there clear and defined role and an understanding of what the company is about. This is an example of the JBS meat facility in Brazil, the most productive facility they have in Brazil. There's 7 disciplines that the people see every day as they go to work. Some of the disciplines are excellence, planning, and simplicity. Another thing with corporations is that they generally give formal feedback to people on an annual and even quarterly or 6-monthly basis. So I visited Google in California. Google's mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally acceptable and useful. In their performance, they give regular performance measurement feedback under these following headings: problem solving, domain expertise, leadership, consciousness, and collaboration. This shows that Google are not just worried about what you're doing in your own role. They're interested, has the person got leadership, have the initiative and innovation also. And employees at Google are actually upset or dissatisfied when they don't get feedback. They feel it motivates them to improve, and poorer people generally, when they get poor feedback, will end up maybe leaving a company, so it could be better for both parties. So measuring performance on farm. In our own situation, mission statements and goal setting isn't even on the Richter scale for most farmers in Ireland. Each farm needs to have a clear reason for their existence. It would help the farmer themselves and people working on their farm to improve and share a common goal. Goals then would come out of this to improve the farmer, improve people working, and improve farm performance. So how would we measure performance on farm? Well, this is an example I got from New Zealand. Mark Townsend had developed it. It's broken dairy farming down into 6 main categories: caring for animals, grass management, handyman jobs, dealing with people, financial knowledge, and understanding win-win. So people in Mark's company were measured, as you can see on the right-hand side of the slide, from very strong back to deficient. So if you take caring for animals, someone with a natural instinct and needs little vet support would be strong or very strong caring for animals. People that dislike animals would be considered deficient or farm restricting. Understanding win-win was another interesting area that was measured, where people that viewed the farm holistically as one unit, saw the bigger picture, could actually add or grow the business. People with total self-interest would be considered efficient in this measurement matrix. So just my conclusion then: farmers need multidisciplinary knowledge to run their business. They need knowledge from grassland management to financial management. Better farmers in Ireland are good across all this range of knowledge. I have a 14-point a la carte roadmap which people can read and choose for themselves what they need in order to develop themselves. Jim Wolfe spoke earlier about he looked in the mirror and he realized where he was weak, so he could improve that. So you must realize your personal limitations and try and improve them in order to develop. Measuring performance, as shown in corporations, can help motivate staff, can help staff improve. And then lastly, constant and never-ending improvement. The better farmers, and some of them are here today because they want to learn, they want to help other people learn and impart their information. My recommendations then: it is critical that goal setting and performance measurement comes on farm. We have discussion group meetings, and oftentimes the long and short-term goals are quickly read and forgotten about. The farmer himself has just written them that morning. No thought has gone into them. They need to be thought out and carried out. Discussion groups in Ireland on dairy farms can actually help to coach farmers to achieve their annual goals. Maybe 2 or 3 farmers, making sure that the farmer that they visit on that day, by the end of the year, has carried out the goals he said he was going to do. Conscious investment in people is required. Farmers farmers' investment in people is a low priority decision on most farms. Farmers are their own best asset. They need to look after themselves and people working for them. They have to budget appropriately for people working on their farm. An industry training body is required in Ireland. We have different bodies providing different skills courses. Farm Relief Services providing milking skills. DCO Ryan Academy is providing leadership course for farmers. Like what Karen said this morning about the Leadership Trust, we need a home for these courses. We actually have excellent training, and knowledge is not limited, with Teagasc being one of the best science-based organisations in the world. This needs to be brought together, and in New Zealand they have the Agriculture Industry Training Organisation that brings all these skills together. And because my topic was such a broad stroke of developing people, further study on farm performance measurement, how corporations measure their performance and how it's brought back to the farm would be of great benefit to Irish farmers. Also on mentoring, which has been mentioned a lot today, a Nuffield study on mentoring would be of great value to Nuffield organisations and people within Nuffield, and allowing people to become mentors and for people to find and use mentors. That is my presentation, and just an interesting quote there on Charlie Munger about the Lollapalooza effect. So thank you.